She found two cats in the rain, and then they found their queen. But when a king came to steal her heart, they weren't ready to share. This is the tale of love, claws in a crown by Jessprosia. If this poem touched you or the story made you feel something real, Ko-fi and Patreon links are in the description. Help us keep writing for you and for the ones we love. The tale of Ggomo, Byeomi, and the girl they chose to be queen, a fairy tale written by Pacampara. Opening poem. First soft as moonlight, she found us under the rain. Two meows, one vow made. Not prince nor poet could replace our little world on her woven lap. We dream of a throne, silk, fish, and dog-free towers. She dreamed of only love. His voice stirred her song. We scratched fate with sharpened claws, hearts pacing the floor. But love, it expands. More bowels, more paws, more laughter, more laps to claim home. So here we now sit, sunbeams, children, tail flopped of pride, queens of the meow verse. There once lived a girl named Wiin in a moss-covered house at the edge of the kingdom, where the river sang lullabies and vines braided themselves around her windows. She painted the sunrise with her fingertips and stitched clouds with song. She wasn't rich nor royal, but her soul gleamed like honey caught in the moonlight. Every flower in town turned toward her when she passed, not because she was the sun, but because she reminded them of something softer than light, something like home. She had no crown, only two cats. Ggomo, lean as midnight and quiet as doubt, was her shadow. He watched with gold-flecked eyes that seemed to remember wars from long ago. Byeomi, plump and impulsive, was a patchwork of soft fur and louder opinions, and had a habit of throwing herself into Wiin's arms with the conviction of a martyr. Wiin found them one stormy afternoon. Ggomo hissing under a fallen poster cart, Byeomi tangled in plastic rings behind the florist's stall. She carried them home in her satchel, soaking wet and shivering, and named them not after heroes but of things she loved. Her grandmother's treasured jade hairpin, Ggomo, and her favorite yogurt brand, Byeomi, the kind she thought when she felt lonely. What Wiin didn't know was no one in the town could have guessed. What? Thus these were no ordinary cats. They were ancient souls, guardians of fallen empires, once companions to sorcerers and priestesses who spoke to wind and fire. But in this life, they had chosen her, the odd girl with dirt under her nails and moonlight in her lap, and they had a plan. They would make Wiin a princess not for the sake of titles, but because they wanted a castle, a real one, with sunlit cushions, marble fish balls, and guards to keep out dogs. Their destiny was soft rugs and warm windows. Their girl deserved nothing less than to be adored by an entire kingdom. They were doing quite well. In fact, Wiin unknowingly caught the attention of local nobility, turned down two ministers, and once accidentally made the high priest cry at a harvest festival with a song she sang to a bird with a broken wing. Ggomo and Byeomi sabotaged every suitor who dared knock, tipping vases, slipping spices into stews, hissing at romantic attempts like jealous dragons guarding a treasure. Then came Jess. He was not like the others. He was a king, yes, but not the kind who had worn armor or demanded vows. Jess walked among the fields with calloused hands, wrote love letters on napkins, and carried the bamboo staff not for power but for balance. He ruled with patience. He had lost wars and forgiven them. His dog, a wise old shepherd named Pepper, was the only one who knew the prophecy before Jess himself remembered it. It had been told to Jess as a boy, "You shall wed 3 women, and they shall shape your world, one of the sun, one of the moon, and one who speaks with beasts. Only through them will peace reign, and where your kingdom will flourish beyond reckoning." Jess, like most boys, had thought it nonsense until Pepper, old and graying, dragged him through alleyways one dusk and began to sing. Not bark, not growl, but sing. A deep melodic howl that rose into harmony, odd and beautiful. And when he looked up, there was Wiin, her hair loose, a smudge of paint on her cheek, whispering, "Shh, Byeomi's asleep." Jess blinked. Pepper sighed, satisfied. The prophecy had begun, but Ggomo and Byeomi did not approve. "This man," Ggomo declared, paw on Wiin's sketchpad, "is a threat to the ecosystem. He's taking our sunbeam," Byeomi hissed, swatting Jess's shoe as he tried to open the garden gate. So began the sabotage. Byeomi shredded silk Jess had gifted Wiin. Ggomo knocked over tea at their picnic and blamed the wind. One particularly humiliating evening, they both leapt into Jess's lap, and that dinner, they made such a scene that even the palace butler muttered prayers. And yet none of it worked. Because Wiin smiled through the chaos, she petted them both with love in her eyes and whispered, "Jealous aren't you, little gods?" And Jess never raised his voice. He once shared his steak with Byeomi. He repaired a torn pillow Ggomo had ripped out of spite. But the real trouble began when Jess brought his closest allies, his other destined wives. Empress Yong and Empress Byul. Yong, a flaming human form with a mind like moonlight over water. Byul, silver-tongued and strong, who could calm storms with a wink or a punch. They had met Wiin once, long ago in the market. They knew the third was her. "It's her," Byul said with certainty, after seeing Wiin laugh at a pigeon stealing her dumpling. Yong nodded. "And if those 2 cats don't kill Jess first, maybe we'll finally have our trio complete." Yong knelt before Ggomo and whispered the truth. "From one guardian soul to another, she's ours too. You don't lose her, you gain a kingdom." Byul bribed Byeomi with a dish of yogurt and said, "You can rule the castle with us. Think about the windows." And at last, the cats relented, but only after Jess made a formal offering, a decree sealed with royal wax declaring, "Let it be known that Ggomo and Byeomi, guardians of her radiance Wiin, shall be granted the titles of royal cat consuls. They shall receive lifetime rations of salmon, the eastern wing of the palace dog-free, and full command over the castle staff of loppers, fish keepers, and sunbeam trackers. With dignity only cats can muster, Ggomo yawned and bowed. Byeomi fell asleep in Jess's crown, and so at last, Wiin entered the palace not as a visitor, but as empress. Her coronation dress was woven from laughter and rain, and her cats walked beside her like 2 old generals who had just won a war. Years passed, the kingdom flourished, fields overflowed, birds nested in the towers without fear. There were no prisons, only poetry contests and festivals of bread. Music floated through the courtyards, dog napped beside cats, and the aquariums were tended with care, and every child in the kingdom learned to dance before they learned to fight. Wiin bore children, bright, messy, magical children with starlit eyes and endless energy. Jess the king often cooked breakfast barefoot, wearing an apron that read, "World's 4th favorite ruler." Yong taught the royal choir how to bend melody like wind. Byul taught the guards how to write love letters. And in the highest tower, Ggomo and Byeomi lounged in the stained glass room filled with golden pillows and birds who'd forgotten to fear. They watched their girl laugh on the lawn below, her hair tangled with ribbons, her crown lopsided, her arms full of kittens. "She's still ours," Byeomi whispered. "She always has," said Ggomo. And so the kingdom ruled by 3 empresses, and the king who loved too honestly became a legend not just for its power but for its joy. And in every story told thereafter, when children asked who made it all possible, the storytellers would smile and say, "It began with a girl, a prophecy, and 2 cats who refused to share her heart." This piece is dedicated to my dearest sunshine, Kim Yongsun. Please show her your love and support on her channel, Solarcido. She's the heart behind so much of the light I share here. If you enjoy poems, short stories, and heartfelt journeys like this one, stay a while and see if any of my work resonates with you. I'd love for you to consider subscribing if you find a piece of your heart here. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what new story formats or poems you'd love to see. Your voice helps shape this growing storybook we're building here. Thank you for walking this world with me. Have a nice day.